Now, hello. And today we're on Real Talk with Philip Kojo and Malcolm the Beefcake, maybe we'll call me. No, we won't call him. But today's episode on Real Talk is all about wrestling. Is it fake? What is it? Hmm. The opinions will vary. And a lot of people, such as my wife, doesn't enjoy wrestling. But I told her it's an adult version of a soap opera with live action stunt. And she's just like, no. But I believe that stuff, and I've had friends that are in wrestling, and they are live action stuntmen and stunt women that are doing these crazy choreographed maneuvers, and it's absolutely amazing. It's things that I can't do. And Killer Kojo is just laughing, ready to roll in here. So take it away, Killer Kojo.
Yeah, and I mean, no true words. She went to a local circuit thing yesterday in Winnipeg,
Yeah.
and
Where was it?
and
Tell
at
everybody
the
where it was.
at the Pyramid Cabaret,
That's
and
nice.
it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. An intimate affair. There's maybe 150 people maybe in there, 100 people something in there, but you just get a real appreciation up close and personal, just how hard these men and women work in the field. It's
Yeah.
it's um it's predetermined or not. I mean, it's real athleticism, and they do take some real bruises and bumps in there just for the sake of entertaining people, and which is really what
Uh,
it is. And especially there's quite a few kids that were in there, for example, and it was actually really cool to see that they how evolved they were. And there's
right.
one boy actually that was with my friend Dan, who just had open heart surgery,
Oh wow.
and who was actually quite he didn't want to go, and apparently was quite an introvert,
Hmm.
and with most everybody, but here he was, kill him, kick his ass, and he just it's like
Totally let him loose, right? He
oh,
just
apparently just out of a shell, and
um,
the the adults in the room that I guess knew his story were all kind of like like in terms of he's alive, he's like
yeah,
um um you know living his best life, which is really fun to see, just to um um even just see all the faces on all the kids, and just how and it was like they got it too, like it's like they're giving it back to some of the heels, as they call them, which is the villains in wrestling.
yep. I
And
love
so
that.
yeah, and so it was it was just some of the chances. It was, you suck. Get up. You can kick us. Just get up, or run, run. He's coming. Yeah, yeah. It was.
Isn't it amazing how people get into it? Like, I
Well, you know
think
what?
it's
Yeah,
awesome. It's like a
yeah,
hockey event, even though it's like,
yeah. And even the chants, like holy shit, like when something really cool happens, like a really cool move or something like that happens.
yeah.
Actually, I think I started one of those chants, which was fun. Um, um, but yeah, no, like let's face it, it's really play fighting, and but adult play fighting,
Mhm.
which which is extremely well done, especially when you see it up close and personal like that. You have such an appreciation of it all in general.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, I find it fascinating. Like people say, "Oh, well, it's fake." Well, yeah. I don't know. You're falling onto a hard, well, it's not quite hard. It's
Well, it's fake in
forgiving
a sense,
mat.
yeah. It's fake in the
Yeah.
sense that it's scripted, but
Yeah.
it's very real in the sense that it's like real action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
You're
it's
getting
so,
real bruises. You can get
yeah,
real
yeah,
injuries like
yeah.
tearing your quads or tearing your Achilles or
Kills, yeah,
falling down.
easily.
Like,
Yeah, breaking your arm, breaking
yeah.
because like those flips and actually, and some of the chops and kicks and punches are real because yeah, a lot of it is kind of like you know feathered, but
Hmm.
or not feathered, like
But held back or missed
held
or
back. Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
but because it's stunt, basically like stunt fighting. It really
Hmm.
is what it is. But even in that, again, there's some mishaps, or sometimes there's a miscues, and or your head's not placed in the right place, and you get popped on
Yeah,
purpose, or get a black eye
right.
out of yeah, it happens.
And which is so impressive, like, like a drop kick. The dude throws you off of a rope, you jump up, and then you
You
two
know what, and
leg
that's the thing
kick.
that, yeah, no,
Like, that's
100%.
real.
Like, also when you even think about it, and here's where, I don't care if you're 150 pounds or 250 pounds, like some of those backflips or something I wouldn't want to do, but because sometimes just wait for someone to land on their head, but they always seem to tuck and roll, you know what I mean? And so it's like,
Yeah.
wow, because some of them, actually, it's funny you say that, or like last night, for example, there's the last match of the night were like the heavyweight fight, and I think the one guy must have been at least 280, if not over 300 pounds, and yeah,
That's ridiculous.
and I mean, I'm a fair sized guy, not the biggest guy, but a fair sized guy. But his competitor was coming in and high fived him. I was amazed at the like. It was not like it was like a man hand five. You know what I mean? Like it was a hard. It's like wow. You know what I
You're
mean?
right.
Like he put it all in, so but then he backflipped this guy, or like flipped him, and I was like, holy shit! Like A, that was a lot of weight to like
To
put
catch and
over,
flip.
and
Yeah.
C, for this 300-pound dude to like take a roll, like take a dump like that. It's like holy, like how, because those boards don't even seem that solid to me. Like they do have a lot of bounce to them, and so that's where you get a lot of the effect from too. Like
Yeah.
it almost amplifies like subwoofers the mats, right? It
Right.
amplifies the sound or the impact and just heightens the action, I guess, so to speak.
For sure.
It's
I always
yeah.
wondered what that mat was made out of. It kind of reminds me of, the Olympics when you're watching the gymnasts run and do the tumbling and everything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
it
yeah,
kind of
exactly. Exactly like it.
yeah,
Exactly like it.
it
Yeah.
reminds me of that
Yeah.
with like a little bit more of like a harder surface kind of thing. So then they can
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
jump
So
around and do
definitely
their
it
thing.
definitely does lessen the blow, but it's
Hmm.
still, or the impact, right? Because it's got
Yeah.
a bit of give. And that's where I'm actually, there are times when I'm expecting them to like go through the floor. Because it just yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
like I was honestly sitting there thinking to myself, like, I wonder if anyone's ever gone through this floor. Like I know there's been a couple times where the rings have busted because like I remember, like, I think was it Brock Lesnar and Big Show. I think they did some show and the whole ring like
Right.
and
Right.
and yeah, and so that's kind of like,
You gotta wonder if I think that might have been scripted because I also remember
oh yeah, it might have been
Undertaker
fair. Well, that's
having
the
that
thing.
happen
That's
too,
that's the
right?
thing with wrestling is that some things just work so well that you feel like it's part of the show. You never know what
Yeah,
is and what isn't sometimes. And if it
totally.
wasn't, it was brilliantly done. Um, but you could be right though too, because a lot of like it was like the last show. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
perfectly aligned.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And like,
yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
the level of trust these athletes must have for each other because like the setup, the jumping off of like say the ropes into the not into the crowd, but into a bunch of other wrestlers and the other guys kind of accepting, like if you're not looking, what
Yeah.
happens? Like the person jumps on you, hits you in the head, or you fall back or something like that. But they always seem to fall just right. Or when the guys like run right out of the rink, jump over the freaking ropes onto a crowd of other dudes. This is like they're
Yeah,
doing body surfing like that. And then just the level of trust. I would not trust people to catch me. I'd be like, forget this. No, it takes a
yeah.
special person to do that stuff. It's
No kidding.
nuts.
No kidding.
Like
Actually,
it blows my mind. It literally does.
actually,
Yeah.
just had a name change.
Oh, you had a name change. Oh, Killer Kojo. Uh-oh. Beware, people, beware.
No,
He's a
no.
badass.
I'm gonna go to KO Kojo.
KO kid. Oh, better watch out, man. Better watch out. It's that right hook. It comes out of nowhere. I've loved some of those iconic names that they've had in wrestling. Like, I mean, I think the most iconic must be like Undertaker or
Yes,
like
yes, yeah, yeah.
Kane
yeah.
or something like that, right? Because I mean, how many years was the Undertaker? Like, I mean, mid '90s, this dude
Oh
was
yeah,
humming,
yeah,
and
yeah.
what a name. And then there's
Yeah, it
like,
must be actually kind of surreal in that way too, like to basically, grow up in the public eye in that way.
right? Like he was, when that guy first, or I shouldn't say first debuted, when I first recognized the Undertaker,
Yeah.
he wasn't quite as thick. And I know I've done some research about this over a few years. There used to be like two guys that used to play the Undertaker part, and then the other one just kind of was just better at it, kind of thing. But
Mm.
it's mind blowing his transformation, his body transformation throughout the time that he was wrestling. Because like I said, the '90s is when this guy was doing his thing, and then he went into what they call what the Attitude Era. So I think that was late '90s, early 2000, and then he literally, I don't even know if that guy actually even retired, because I
Well,
mean, I swore I saw him what last year or something like that. Unbelievable how long he's competed. It's incredible. Some of these guys are just ridiculous.
yeah, I think they had another Undertaker as part of an angle, and it was apparently it was apparently the real Undertaker's cousin, Brian Lee.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was his cousin that played but then Kane came later, who's not related. Like because I think that whole second Undertaker buzz was a thing, or
Right.
worked like or kind of loomed around, and so they later came up with But yeah, and here's the other thing though too is people don't realize some of the training that goes into wrestling. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend like I do in terms of the wrestling schools itself. Because that's where they learn to roll and take the bumps and things like that, and the punches and that. But then there's a
Like the, what is
but
it? The
then there's a gym
dungeon?
aspect of it, right? There's a cardio aspect of it. There's a weight training aspect of it, and not everyone subscribes to it, but
Yeah.
most I think subscribe to one or the other. Because I remember seeing Mick Foley in the gym
Oh,
at
right.
Premier Fitness here in Winnipeg, and I mean, and
Yeah.
you kind of watch them because they're like you're like fanboying out, right? These are like some of your idols, and he wasn't doing
Yeah.
a heck of a lot, but he was pusking around, doing some cardio and some, it was almost like he seemed in real life like he is, on TV. Like
Yeah.
he's just
He
aloof,
didn't
right? But
turn it off.
friendly as hell though. Like actually, whereas even on TV, yeah, even though he's like sometimes a bad guy, sometimes like a
Yeah.
creeper, but
Because
he's
he
super friendly
played
looking, right? Yeah, just
for
he
sure.
seemed harmless enough, and he's just like that in real life. And
He has
someone like
so
the
many
Undertaker,
different
for someone
monikers,
like
right?
the Undertaker was
Mhm.
surprising to me in that sense. Him and whatchamacallit, I think he's passed away, but they used to call him the Crush, or Brian Adams, I think his name was. He was part
Oh,
of a
the
group
crush. I
called the
don't remember.
Terminators, I think, or Demolition. Um,
Oh, the Demolition
yeah,
Warriors, or no?
yeah, Demolition. Yeah, Crush was his. I think it's since passed,
Yeah.
I believe.
Oh,
But
a
anyways,
lot of those guys have
yeah,
passed, unfortunately.
like
Yeah.
him and the Undertaker were working out together, and they were doing shoulder presses, and it was like three 45-pound plates on each side,
Oh my God, those
like
guys are just
like
monsters, eh?
315 pounds, including the bar,
Yeah,
shoulder
no
press,
kidding, right?
shoulder pressing. That's like yeah, like most people have a hard time bench pressing that. Never mind, they were shoulder. Most people have a hard time squatting that. You know
Yeah,
what I
no
mean?
kidding, right?
And they were shoulder pressing this for reps. Like that
That
was
is unbelievable.
yeah. You know what I mean? And honestly, they're tall people, but they're not like muscular. Like they're not like you know
Yeah, they're not like
even,
Mr. Universe
exactly yeah. So it's just
chiseled.
kind of like yeah, it's like wow.
Could you imagine if they can do that? That must be, well, I'm not saying easy, but like, when they have to lift somebody like, the Big Show or The Rock or any of their
Yeah,
compatriots, that's
yeah.
where that shoulder press really comes in.
Comes in, yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? And
yeah.
you can't fake that.
No, no,
Like when a
you
person's
can't.
on your shoulder, you can't
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
it's not heavy. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, because you still have to be able to and there's some of the moves that you could kind of see how
Like the
um
pile driver.
it can be assisted, but yeah, there's things that you literally still, yeah, like a pile driver or
Or what's that one where they hold them way up in the air?
yeah,
Goldberg used to do that.
shoulder press, yeah, all that, yeah,
Yeah,
and these are all like some of these wrestlers did this yesterday, which is like again, wow, like you'd like to see that close
right.
because
The
you said on TV
acrobatics
that, yeah,
behind it.
and yeah, just the athleticism of it, right?
Hmm.
And even including the person that could like relax their body enough or stiffen up their body enough to be held upright like that for that long.
Right?
It's
All
like
your blood
wow.
is rushing to your head if they're
Yeah,
holding you
yeah,
straight up.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and the dudes that can do the pause kind of thing, like they lift you all the way up, they turn you vertically
yeah,
and
yeah,
pause in the air for
yeah,
effect and then come down. Like, that's
yeah.
unreal.
Oh yeah,
That's a
and
massive
just when
amount of power.
the ring awareness, because yesterday they did, playing to the crowd and I think at some point even one wrestler was sitting on someone's lap fighting. Like, it was just kind of like it was very very interactive in that way,
Yeah.
and just the ring awareness in terms of just where they're at and keeping everyone safe for the most part
And
while they're doing their tumbling and stuff like that, which is it was well done, very well done.
they use
Yeah.
any chairs or ladders in
Oh yeah,
this one?
chairs. Yeah, you got to use
Nice.
the chairs. Yeah,
Seeing that up close is ridiculous. And not only
yeah,
like I've never seen it like wicked close, that one.
yeah.
I've gone to things like I don't think I went to the Palladium. I think the last one I saw in Winnipeg would have been, I want to say, at the convention center back in the
Okay.
day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah.
even then, like I don't remember them using chairs, but I remember them jumping off the ropes, and I was like, they're gonna hit that chandelier. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's
Yeah, well, yeah, this is just it,
unreal.
because again, the ring's, a good 3, 4 feet up, and so if you have a normal size roof, you're pretty much at the roof. So, and this venue yesterday, there's these expensive looking projectors, and it was like, these guys are gonna hit their heads, and a few times they did.
See, and they just keep on going with the show. Like, can you
Yeah,
imagine?
yeah,
You give yourself some skull candy, so to speak, by jumping off of a rope. you fall, you hit
yeah,
the ground maybe a little bit earlier than you think, and you keep going. Like
yeah, yeah,
the threshold of pain for these
yeah,
individuals
yeah,
must just be just ridiculous.
yeah, and here's where too, you sometimes there was no slip ups that I noticed anyways. Like, the everything was it was like a ballet.
Well
Like, yeah,
choreographed,
yeah,
yeah,
very well court. Yeah, very well done.
nice.
Yeah.
That
Mm.
is unbelievable. Yeah. So here's a question, KO Kojo. Would you wrestle? Would you
Oh,
prepare
absolutely.
yourself? Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
You jump in
Yeah.
the ring, the squared
Oh,
circle.
oh yeah, yeah. So much fun. Looks like it'd be so much fun. I'm gonna take my pears, say my pears, eat my bananas.
Will it be
What you
your
gonna do when Killer Kojo comes on you? Arr.
Oh, I love that. The Killer Kojo comes after you.
It doesn't matter.
Just pulling the rock on us right now. Whoa, easy,
Yeah.
easy. Take it. Gotta go with one promo kind of
Right?
thing. Oh man,
Uh,
that must have been a ball. How many
yeah.
do you know how many like fights there were on that card for you?
I think there was eight.
Eight?
Eight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
And
yeah,
probably like 20 minutes each or something like that. Yeah,
yeah,
somewhere
yeah,
there.
yeah. Because it started at 7 till 10, I think it was. Yeah,
It's absolutely amazing how their timing is also on, like timing
yeah,
for the
yeah,
whole entire
yeah, yeah.
match.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
planned to a T. That's why I say it's like a
Yeah,
soap
I mean
opera,
from the
right?
walkout, right? From the walkout and the walkout music, and even the walkout, they have their, their little, little things with the
Yeah,
fans, like the good guys high fiving the bad guys, just
yeah,
you know, the fans giving it back, just getting, it's just kind of like a little pregame, yeah, once they get in the ring,
mhm.
then it's like, oh, it's yeah, it's a hoot, it's a
It's
hoot,
like, what do we call it? Interactive play
yeah,
fighting
yeah,
stunt
oh yeah.
people
Yeah.
soap opera.
And also, even though at this venue, even though like we're in the VIP section, there
Oh,
really was like
nice.
no bad seats still in the place. You know what I mean? Because it was that interactive and that.
That intimate, eh?
Yeah, yeah. So like pretty much anywhere in there where you had a good visual sight of what was happening, which is kind of cool.
Mhm. I've gone only to like, no, that's not true. I did go to the one in the convention center, which had, I want to say, a couple hundred people, I want to say.
Yeah.
And then I've also seen it back in the day in the old Winnipeg Arena. I haven't seen
Oh yeah,
anything
yeah, yeah, yeah,
else
yeah.
live recently, but I remember the Winnipeg Arena. That was a pretty cool thing. That was a great card. I want to say that was just before they tore down that building. So that would be like 98, 99 or somewhere.
Mm.
To my understanding, Winnipeg is now starting to get some bigger cards. So like actual Raw and
Oh yeah, yeah,
what's it called?
yeah. The
SmackDown.
AEW and Smack. Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
is
Some sold out
always cool.
tickets here.
Yeah. What is his name? Mr. Omega. He hails from
Winnipeg as well. Yeah,
Canada.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Kenny
Winnipeg.
Omega.
Yeah, man. And then he was living in Japan, and
Yeah,
he that's where he cut his you
yeah.
know,
Seats, so to speak.
yeah, he unreal. And then we had what is it called? Roddy Piper, and we were just talking Chris Jericho, all hailing from Winnipeg, which is kind of amazing, that they've made it this
Mm.
big.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, no, Winnipeg's been a breeding ground of sorts, and I guess with Calgary with the Heart
Oh, we
Dam and
had
things
the
like that,
did they
and
call it the dungeon?
yeah, the dungeon, and I forget which role. There's a wrestling circuit that was out of Calgary too. Or was it Stampede Wrestling? I think. Yeah, Stampede Wrestling. A lot of
Was that out
names
of
came.
Calgary?
Yeah, Stampede Wrestling. Come on.
You know what? I thought it was an American thing, but
Yeah.
that
No,
that
no.
was a
I
Calgary
think
thing.
yeah.
I
Was it
didn't real.
Stampede Wrestling? I think it was because a lot
Yeah,
of
I think it's
names
called
came out of there.
Stampede.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But there was a promoter here, Tony Candello out of Winnipeg,
Tony Condell,
who
Filipino guy.
trained Tony Candello. No, I think he's Italian, I believe.
Oh, okay,
But he
cool,
trained
cool.
a lot of the like Hulk Hogan, Chris Benoit, who unfortunately turned out to be a piece of shit. Um, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and story is Vince McMahon and him are really tight. Pretty much most of the time when WWE would come into Winnipeg, Vince
Mm-hmm.
McMahon would connect with him.
No
He's a
way.
bit of a obviously not the success of a Vince McMahon, but a bit of a legend in terms of in the wrestling world.
Promoting.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, and in terms of training a lot of the guys from back in the day. And I was actually looking or chatting with him because he had a local thing happening too, like with cage fights later on in life as well as wrestling earlier on when he first started.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was chatting with him with probably I'm gonna say about 15, 16, 17 years ago, but doing something in Africa cage wise because both like with his knowledge and setting it up, but that unfortunately never came to fruition.
Oh,
And
too bad.
but now there's all kinds of disciplines regarding cage fights in Africa, which are blowing up, which I kind of figured back then it would blow up, and sure enough, it is.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is it
because my
like
thought was like to have like an all nations, a real all nations. Like granted, in the UFC, there's a lot of variety of countries there now,
of course, yeah.
but before it was primarily Americans, and then so I
And
should say
Brazilians and
Brazilians,
stuff,
yeah,
yeah.
with the whole Gracie family type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
but there was a
Hmm.
lot of to me undiscovered talent in the world, and but
Oh,
now
for sure.
I think it's more inclusive.
Hmm.
But I still think it would have been cool to have had like uh an all a real all countries battle like the United Nations of the UFC type thing, or the
Yeah,
Olympics of the
almost like the
UFC.
Olympics. Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
that
yeah,
would be
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
sweet.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And so
you
that was
join
kind
a
of like my
team and
thought.
then see who. Yeah,
Exactly,
that would be. So when you
exactly.
say like cage fighting, was it kind of like remember back in the day, Kimbo Slice?
Yes, yes, yeah,
Like a almost like not a street fighter, what a
yeah.
backyard brawler kind of deal?
Back here, Brawl Street Fighter. Yeah, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That is
And
wild.
and as good as he was, years where, when he got into the UFC, I think the discipliner there had some rules that weren't, which I think he struggled with, right? Because it was, and I think once he started figuring it out, he started getting better, but it was a little bit different than street fighting because street fighting just let loose. But there were
Right.
rules to, yeah, or he didn't do as well as I think everyone expected him to do in the cage.
Well, he had
Rest his
that
soul.
that knockout power, but the
Yes.
thing with him was when he's playing against these guys that are all not playing, I should say, fighting against or competing against these guys that are all just raw, just like him,
Yeah.
he was genetically predisposed to being able to just knock out everybody. But then when he went into the ring, into the MMA, now he's fighting against trained individuals
hmm
that are trained in certain disciplines. So that's the thing. You can only have so much raw talent, but you cannot.
hmm
What did
hmm
Mike Tyson say? Like
Everyone's got a game plan until they
everybody's
get punched. Yeah, in the face.
exactly right. And I don't think in all Kimbo's slice backyard brawls did he ever really get punched. But then when he went into the MMA, yeah, they
Or
punch
the
back,
UFC,
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, they punch harder.
Well, and also the takedowns, right? Because there's, I think the word is more well-rounded, right? And that's where he
Yeah,
had to learn to become more well-rounded because, there's, it's one thing to be a great puncher, but if you don't know how to get off your back once you're on the ground, you're messed up,
right.
you know?
Oh yeah, some of those grappling and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and vice versa. You could be a good grappler, but if you can't take your man down and he's punching the head 5 rounds, chances are you're going to lose if you don't
yeah,
know how to
exactly.
box.
Yeah, you don't know how to box. You don't know how to like. If you only know the one discipline, like I mean, there's a reason why it's called mixed martial arts.
Exactly.
These people have like multiple disciplines underneath themselves. Do you remember when the UFC first came out? How it was back in the day? How many fights those fighters would fight in
Yeah.
one day?
Yeah.
Those tournaments with like what is it called? Severin and Tito Ortiz and
Oh, they
Royce
were vicious.
Gracie and Ken Shamrock. Actually, I guess Tito Ortiz is probably a little bit younger than some of those guys, but
Yeah. But yeah, he'd been around since pretty much the start too. Tito.
mm, but remember those tournaments? They were like
Yeah.
literally a whole night of
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
beat each other.
Yeah.
You'd have three. They'd have three fights.
And they
I
were
was
all
like,
out,
yeah,
because I
like
think they got tamer over the years.
oh, absolutely. Well, now they're much more like boxing. It was pretty smart. I think it's ever since what Dana White took it over or whatnot,
hmm
he
hmm
kind of changed the way it was and really put it on the map because those guys, even though they're getting their brains bashed in, they didn't put in that much time, right? Like it
hmm
wasn't the same thing. So it's interesting how far wrestling MMA has come,
No,
which
for
is
sure.
impressive. Unreal, unreal. So,
Well,
what's your last statement about wrestling? Because we're coming up on our time here.
yeah.
What do you
Well,
think? Fake or real?
yeah.
Pardon me.
It's been a big part of my life for most of my life in terms of entertainment and life in general, I guess, and it's been a great escape from from life, I guess, in um, in a lot of ways. And so, hats off to the talent, and hats off to the people that take the effort and the time to present it to us.
Yeah, amen to that, brother. Like, I mean, these people are unbelievable to go put their body at risk on daily basis, even knowing the risks of injury and like, high level injuries,
Hmm.
and then still going out and doing what they love and putting out a great
Well, let's
product,
be honest.
which
Like, I
is
mean, some of them
awesome.
will live and risk their life, their entire life, right? In terms of,
Oh yeah,
um,
Owen
in the
Hart.
attempts to be in the, yeah,
Mm,
and
that's a
you could
perfect
go on and on
example.
and on because there's a lot that had to take performance, not had to, but chose to take performance enhancing drugs to be able to, perform at what they believe maybe to be their optimum,
Yeah,
and ultimately kill them, right? And so,
yeah.
um,
Like the
um,
aforementioned Chris Benoit. Uh, there, what
and
is it?
the head, yeah,
CTE that they're talking about
yeah,
for them. Yeah,
yeah.
it's got to be traumatic for them. So
You
hats
know,
off to them for
and then
doing
I mean, you could talk of the
anything.
Rick Rudes, the Mr. Perfects, the Brian Pillmans, the
Right.
with a lot of steroid use that unfortunately led some of them to their untimely deaths,
Heart
for
attack
example.
and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
that's a dark side of the ring, so to speak.
no doubt. One of these days we'll have to talk about that as well, my brother.
Yeah. There's a few shows out that I don't know if you've seen them, but which does talk exactly about that, like the dark side of the ring, which is like some of um I think there's a Macho Man Savage one, there's a Ric Flair one, there's quite a few of them, and some of them are actually quite. But I think actually I'm pretty sure there's a Chris Benoit one too as well.
Oh,
But
I know
yeah,
there's a Chris Benoit one. I
yeah,
can't remember what platform it's on, but yeah,
yeah.
we should.
No,
We
it's all titled The Dark Side of the Ring, and they got a
uh
whole bunch of different
Oh,
episodes.
it's almost like a chapter or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Right.
a series. It's a series with all the different wrestlers um and some of the trauma they experience in their life that we don't see outside the ring, so to speak. And then don't get me wrong, some of it does play out in the ring.
Hmm.
And like Miss Elizabeth and Macho Man, for example, but some of it does play out in the ring.
Right. You know what we should do is we should circle back and do this again and watch some of those chapters and talk about those chapters on Real Talk. I think that people would like that.
Yeah, no,
What
for
do you
sure.
think?
No, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
Wicked,
All right.
well, wicked, my brother. This has been a Real Talk with Chilakojo, and I'm still working on
KO
my
Kojo. KO
KO Kojo,
Kojo.
KO Kojo. Oh yes, that's right, KO Kojo, and they we'll call him the Marvelous Malcolm. No, no,
Yeah.
no, that sounds like Marvelous Miss Maples. I'll think of a new stage name for myself. But it's always
Yeah.
a pleasure doing this with
Magic
you,
Malcolm.
brother.
Magic Malcolm.
Oh, Magic Malcolm. Yeah, see, I
Yeah.
disappear
Oh,
before you can
yeah.
hit me.
Yeah.
Or I just run out of the ring or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, thank
That
you,
better yet make your
everybody.
opponents disappear.
No doubt, no doubt.
Be gone.
You shall not pass. Maybe I'll have a staff. I don't know.
Like, like,
Something like that.
I even there's even dance moves making their way into wrestling. I think it was Daddy Garcia's got this one where he's got this dance, and I
Yeah.
think I forget. There's a
Even John
There's a
Cena,
King Nana. There's a King Nana that's got a little swervy move, which I think is the best dance in the business right now. But
or
yeah,
even Kingston, he does a little bit of a dance. Like, um, well, who else was there? There was that dude, Rafik, Rashiki. I think back in the day, he used to do
yeah,
before he used to do that
yeah,
gum
yeah, yeah, yeah,
rubbing
yeah,
in people's
yeah,
faces. He
yeah.
would do that crazy dance with those other guys that tag team and everything. So yeah, wrestling loves dancing,
Oh yeah, yeah.
just some more
Synonymous.
choreograph choreography and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right on.
But yeah,
Well, thank
I mean, love to hear people's thoughts and feedback, and so feel free to chime in.
you. Got it. Please like, follow, comment, smash that subscribe button, and we will see you on the next Real Talk.
You bet.
Pick it up.
Peace.
Cheers.